First Liberty.
First Liberty.
First Liberty Institute.
First Liberty.
First Liberty.
First Liberty Institute. Thanks so much for coming on.
Now, the good news is we're winning these cases.
They are over the moon. They're so happy to have this issue resolved and be able to resume Bible study.
As the organization that won the case at the Supreme Court last year, we were thrilled to see that decision is now bearing good fruit.
This country is built on religious freedom, so if people are willing to stand up for those freedoms, we can win the cases.
This would bring the VA into compliance with President Trump's executive order.
We don't ever want the government to force people to do things that would violate their faith or conscience.
Northwest Bible Baptist Church says they can make gatherings just as safe as shopping.
To suggest that churches are incapable somehow of protecting the health and safety of their people, but Walmart and Target and Home Depot are in-person worship services. The free exercise of religion is an important quality that has not been given up just due to a pandemic.
Beloved Church in Lena, which opened its doors to members on Sunday.
The Constitution does not take a break during a pandemic.
Is this anti-faith or is this something else?
Look, I think folks are just trying to do the very best they can in a very difficult situation.
If restaurants and convenience stores and even liquor stores are allowed to use their parking lots and drive-through services, then the government has to allow churches to do the same.
This is why First Liberty Institute exists, to make sure that we keep the doors of these houses of worship open.
Attorney Roger Byron is representing the Knights of Columbus.
It is blatantly unlawful to ban religious displays from city property.
20 members of Congress sent a letter to the Secretary of Defense demanding a response to know why the Army was so quickly capitulating to the MRFS demands. And we followed that up with a letter of our own to the Secretary of Defense.
The people in the Oval Office today were from different faiths, but the whole point is they have a right to live out their faith. The problem with California is the same problem we've experienced with governor's orders across the country that are discriminatory. It treats secular businesses and organizations differently than it does religious businesses and organizations.
Churches are not essential, according to the state.
One of the police officers came up to Pastor Hamilton and said that because of these orders, because of that local order in Greenville, Mississippi, that his rights were suspended. The loss of fundamental constitutional rights for even a moment is irreparable. I mean, can you imagine if the government said to you, Shannon, we know you have freedom of the press and free speech, but we're just going to keep you off the air tonight.
Well, the First Amendment generally requires the government to treat religious gatherings of people just as well as it treats other gatherings. And yet in Kentucky, almost everything is allowed in person, but private religious K-12 schools have been closed.
The Constitution demands that all of these rules, at the bare minimum, have to be at least consistent across the board.
Well, the Senate is on track to confirm Amy Coney Barrett by the end of the month. And if you look at the timing, if you look at the first two women to be appointed to the Supreme Court, they're a similar time frame.
You can expect, I think, Judge Barrett to demonstrate that she's completely capable of being on the High Court, discussing her commitment to interpreting the Constitution the way it was written. I think you can expect her to be very relatable to the American people as she discusses her family.
Her confirmation is fantastic for this country and fantastic for the Constitution. If you value your First Amendment rights, your religious freedom, your Second Amendment rights, any of your rights under the Constitution, then Justice Barrett is the person you want to see on that court.
Together we're committed to protecting the American people, preserving American values, defending America's heritage, and keeping America safe, strong, prosperous, and free. I want to thank Bob McEwen, Kelly Shackelford, and Jenny Beth Martin for your tremendous leadership. Done a fantastic job.